Craft. This is live in the Underhive terrain scratch building for a Necromunda table, 3x3 Necromunda table, all built on 1x1 foot square tiles so that they can be really modular. This is the beginning of the end, and what I mean by that is that this is the last bit of this section of table. So I will have all 9 pieces done and ready to go shortly. As soon as I finish these, they should be pretty much done. I got a little bit of detail to add to a couple other ones, but other than that, they are good. So this is where I got on one of them. Did a lot of work on both these last night. And then here's the other one real quick. Let's give you a view. Little spinny. So did get a lot of detail on there. A good start. Got this nice panel on the back that will definitely help just block out all that styrofoam. So that was good, but we're going to work on this one a little bit. We're going to just continue on from where I was working last night. And hopefully you'll be able to see my little workspace here as well as what I'm working on. So pretty simple panel construction. I just am going to sub-assembly the panels before I make them, and I probably will end up cutting a panel because I like this corner piece, and that might actually help with this. Maybe I have, let me turn that so you can see what I'm talking about. This is still a blank area. I probably have another tube I could fit in there. So I'm just gonna leave that in there for now to just kind of hold that spot. I don't know if I want it there yet, but I don't want to forget and tile over it or put something else there right away. So I'm just gonna leave it there to give me a kind of a just a little reference point. So here I have already cut some EVA strips that I'm using and cut down some of this press board. I cut the EVA strips about 1/2 inch wide, and I'm gluing them about 1/2 inch into the board just to give myself a really uniform look. It doesn't have to stay uniform in the sense that like they don't have to line up perfectly, because that gives each individual square a little bit more personality. So I don't mind if they don't match perfectly, but trying to stay at a similar height. Or a similar distance, that's just gonna give us a lot of nice consistency. How many pieces do I have? I have 6 total, so that would be 3, so I could do this whole thing. So let's go ahead and just do that. And this is going to take a little while to tile this up. And you may be wondering why I put this other piece of paper on the back of it if I'm just going to tile over it. Well, there was this gap is actually open on this side, so I put the piece of paper there just to cover that. Because I didn't want the space shown through this crack, is basically it. So I'm gonna keep on my production of panels. I get 2 support strips out of each piece of EVA foam and an extra little cutoff piece, which I have been trying to use on places. So none of this is garbage yet. It's all potential terrain. Red Dog Terrain, what is up? Good to see you, my friend. Glad you get to catch one of my live streams. I do understand that I stream at weird hours. I'm a weird guy. I do weird things. I make weird things. So, how you doing, Red Dog? So I'm just tiling up this piece that I'm working on, just trying to give it a little bit more industrial feel and covering the styrofoam. So that's the goal. I'm making these little panels out of press board and EVA foam strips. Oh, again, sorry, I gotta mess with this. Oh, nice, buddy, nice. How is the editing treat you? That's the hardest part for me. I'm just not a. I'd rather have the razor blade in my hand than the mouse, I suppose. But it's funny too. Sometimes I get up early and I'm the voiceover is another very hard part. I find that I get so critical of myself and what I've said that I just end up erasing it and doing it again and again and again. So yeah, voiceovers aren't my favorite thing. I suppose I could do better if I made it into more of a show format where I was writing a script for it and that type of thing, but I don't like writing a script because it's the same idea with building terrain for me. I could measure and draw this out perfectly, like I was building a house perfectly to OSHA standards and safety regulations. But that takes a lot of fun out of it. So, I don't know. Is it a better product? I guess that's for you to decide, huh? I mean, I personally am under the influence. What's the theory? The theory that a band's first album before they make it big is always the best because they still have all the stress of dealing with, trying to survive. So their art is inspired by that. And then when they lose, okay, this isn't always true, but when they lose that need to survive, like just trying just trying to survive, and you have everything you need and whatever, I feel like that can damage your art. So, or change it. I don't know if it damages it. I feel like it changes it, and it won't be the same thing as when you were first starting out and didn't have anything and were doing everything by the skin of your teeth. So we're just going to keep with these panels. This is going to take a little while because it's a kind of monotonous build. But we only have 3 left, so. But then I do have to go back and I'm going to add more texture using the EVA foam strips, just to add horizontal, some horizontal supports too. I think we'll give it a very good industrial wall feel. I do know that this is just like one big wall at the moment. There is no pathing up it, but I might, because of the way that these tiles are set up, I have a good reference to where a floor could go, so I could always, put a chain or a rope or a ladder or something down to another floor that just, actually that would be a good chance for me to practice or test build some walkways. I have this idea for a walkway, so if I use this measurement here and build a walkway about that wide, I could probably hang it off this side, which yes, multiple levels or better. I wish I could get the chat to stay up. It keeps disappearing and yeah, the writing a script thing. I definitely get that. And it's been working for you better, the writing a script. Probably it feels more efficient, like you get it done, like it's just a job that you can get done, read it right, do it right, and you're finished. So I definitely understand that, because I've sat down for hours and tried to record voiceover and only got to like a 10-minute. Yeah, I guess that is the thing. You can always write for your personality, I suppose. I mean, writing is a whole creative art unto itself. So you could definitely add those jokes and stuff. I guess my problem with the scripted is that it's not as real, I guess. And if I'm gonna do things that are, I mean, don't get me wrong, I am building stuff out of trash to play with little plastic toys, so I can't really talk about being serious or anything. But I like that sort of granular realism. Like I like not gonna say I like uncomfortable things, but I like things that make you like think and feel. So I don't want it to make me think or feel like, oh, this is a sitcom or this is Sunday morning cartoons. Like, my kid watches YouTube as well, and some of the stuff that they watch, like, I don't know, it makes me wonder what the hell is going on, right? But if that's what you like, I guess that's what you like, if that's what you want. Hopefully there are people out there that are closer to my opinion that just want to experience it without it being manipulated or toned down or changed up to be consumable by the masses, if you will. So As you can see, I've split this last one and cut a little niche out of the corner so that I can fit it on there. I think I do want to do a kind of an intricate, weird cut right here. Just to add those little details. This yeah, all the ums and ahs. Man, I literally had like a self-awareness doubting my existence because of all the ums and ahs. I was like, why can't I not say that word in between? Like it's space holder for my thought process or something. But definitely, I guess that's another reason why I wing it, is because it helps me. It helps me, not feel. Not that I really feel embarrassed, but not feel as much of a idiot as I do trying to talk to people. I'm not very good at talking to a group of people, and I felt like this is the best way to kind of do that, if anything, in my imagination. Because sometimes there's like nobody watching and I'm just talking, but people could be watching. People can go back and watch, so I can be embarrassed for eternity now. So I just did a little cut for this corner just to give it a little bit more detail. I'm probably going to end up putting a pipe or something down here anyways, so you might not look at that so much, but I like to add those little things because when they do get noticed, they really add to the whole build. Man, so we're doing pretty good so far. Just gonna build the last couple strips. I wonder if there's a way to go into the settings. What the building is at the moment, so I don't know. I think it's maybe a transfer station or something of that sense. Maybe I'm getting the vibes of like like an pressure offshoot release station. There is, you probably can't see it. I'll get the camera as close as I can. There's like some computer chip work back behind that. And I left this side of the cardboard box open so that I can get in there. And I'm going to cut like some panels out of this side, maybe some here too, and put granny grating or some other sort of, sculptor's mesh or grating or something, and piping underneath that. And then so I could slide a light during gameplay. I could put a light in there and turn it on and close that back up and have light shining out. So I have the feeling that maybe it's like a power transfer or some sort of pneumatic pressure transfer station or something. Because when it glows, it will definitely look like more of a generator or generatorium or whatever they call it. And I messed that up. Dang, I got distracted. It's all good. It's all good. like brand new. And I can use this other side. A lot of times I don't have like a particular idea of what the building is until I start building it, unless I have found like a particular bit or bits or whatever that that I like and is telling a story unto itself. Then a lot of times with that piece, it has already kind of told me a story of what I'm gonna build. So then I have like that kind of idea in my head already. Or if it's like necessary for the campaign or gameplay that we're playing. So, say we're playing D&D and I gotta build something in particular for the D&D adventure, or somebody is like, I want a landing pad. Well, then I'm, gonna go in with building a landing pad. Keep the panels going. I don't usually use this kind of particle board for sci-fi terrain because it's very recognizable as wood, and when you break it, it comes out in it comes apart in layers, which I don't think looks the best for sci-fi stuff. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but also you can have trees in your sci-fi world if that's what you want, but I tend to use it for Mordheim or fantasy terrain because that paneling works really good as wooden paneling, obviously. Eyeball where this circular piece is gonna come in. Oh, you guys can't even see him. Got it faced the wrong way, my bad. I'm gonna have that too, but there's this arch cut, so I just eyeballed it in there. And this stuff is really thin, so it's pretty easy to cut. But if you don't get it cut all the way through, it has a tendency to come apart in layers. So I'm going to do one half in the circle or the arc cut and try to really make sure to get it all the way through. That's good. If I needed to, I can sand all that up too if I want to get rid of the... I think I actually cut this on the wrong side. Whoops. That sucks. Oh well. Say love me. I'll fix it with added details later. There'll be extra muck or a ladder or something going over it so that it isn't quite as obvious. I am going to put a ladder on this side, so I do know that there will be pathing up here. I need to figure out where that pathing leads, which I don't know yet. So we're just gonna make our last panel, and then we can move on to the next step, which I don't have any idea what it is, but we'll figure it out. It's probably, the next step is going to be adding all the horizontal pieces. So which means that I probably will have to cut some more EVA strips, but that's an easy production. More time is fun. It's like old school Necromunda. Has a much. It has just that old school flavor where there was kind of more randomness going on. It's also grimmer in the sense that I feel like it's a bit more difficult. Like guys don't survive. Cool. But easy to use. EVA foam, easy to use. I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. I do like it. I do use it quite a bit, but I found a few things. One is once it's on there, it's pretty much on there. Like it shreds into little pieces if you try to yank it off of there. Like this was the piece that I had messed up early, so it basically just ruins the piece. So you kind of have to be pretty confident in where you're putting it, and that's where you want it. And you actually have to be kind of patient too, because it's like cloth, so it flexes and folds and moves, and it's real stretchy too. So you can pull this to get a little tautness, and this will slide down with the hot glue, right? So I've learned that when I do it, especially when I'm doing something that I need that really taut, like when I go around here, this corner, I'm going to glue it on that side and just let that completely cool, so that I have an anchor to pull it against, because otherwise I'll just pull the hot glue apart, and then it'll slide, and then you have this big mess that you got to deal with. So like I said, I got kind of a love-hate relationship. It works really good at sticking other things together. Like you can stick EVA glue or EVA foam between things, and it just works really well. They'll both adhere, whether it's with hot glue or with or super glue or whatever, PVA glue. It really helps hold them together. So it does have some good beneficial aspects to it. It is kind of finicky, and it doesn't, I mean, not to hate on it, but it doesn't really have the best texture. Like, it's kind of like a porous sort of thing. You can paint it up to make it believable as metal or whatever, and you can texture it too. Okay, it doesn't texture the best, but so yeah, I think I'm gonna just continue going around this, but we'll have to cut some more. So I'm just gonna tag that on there and let it cool. While I let that cool, I'm gonna cut a few more strips so I have enough to go around this whole piece. Definitely is a interesting looking pattern so far. It was really relatively easy to produce and cheap as well, so you could have made these two out of card, like just cardstock, like cereal cardboard or something as well. So, and it kind of has a old school Necromunda vibes going on, so you know that's not a bad thing. Could probably build some old school hexagons and panel them up and get something similar to what the old Necromunda terrain aesthetic had. It wasn't my favorite, although those having a billion of those bulkheads now would be pretty cool. You could panel that whole thing with the bulkhead, but that is the only thing I'm sad about not having a 3D printer or not knowing very much about that stuff. Is you could print a lot of that stuff out. It'd be so cool. Okay. Durzen, what is up, my friend? So I'm just oh, hey, that's a really good idea, Red Dog. I don't know if my library has some. I suppose if I really needed like something printed, I could do some barter work and trade for somebody I know that does have a 3D printer. But it would just be cool to be able to have one and be like, oh, you know what, this needs some gargoyles, and print out some gargoyles, right? Like, that's a cool thing. And I am slightly jealous of it, but only slightly. The other good thing about EVA foam is that it scores pretty good. Like, you can kind of mark on it, which is nice. So this is going to be slow go as I yo, there's those bamboos. I've used one of those. One of the places I used to work at, we had one, and of course they use it for stupid things, but it was very cool. What did I print out? I printed out some like Gaslands bits and literally took like an hour, produced really good quality bits. I mean, there was very little like, oh, I can easily tell that that's a printed piece. There was very little of that sort of layering that it leaves. And the ease of use on that bamboo printer was crazy. What was I getting stuff off of? There's an online Thingiverse. I was just going on Thingiverse and printing stuff out, and pretty cool. Looks like most of these little offcuts seem like they'll fit in there, so that's nice. I'm gonna See if I can't double time this just to make it go a little bit quicker, which might lower the quality slightly, but I'm going to try not to have that happen. So I thought about even just running these over, like they're layered, and I do like the way that looks, but I kind of like the weird squares that these are making when they're lined up a little bit better. I don't know why. I definitely can see the benefit of having access to a 3D printer when you're building. I do wonder how much it would influence on like what you're building. For example, if I had a 3D printer, would I have tried to waste my time with this detail, or would I have just printed out some sheets of, you know, something that looks like pipes or whatever? That's the question for me, is that like, is it stopping you from learning skills because you can just hit a button and print it out? So it's definitely teaching you other skills. You're learning how to use a 3D printer, so that's, you know, and there's always going to be that sacrifice of what skills I work on and what skills I Mega City one. Nice. I'll take it. Any Mega City will do. And I can see that there's like some places where these aren't lining up perfectly. There's little gaps, and I actually wanted that. I wanted the tiles to look independent of each other, because it will add the shifted nature of a building settling type of thing. But I'm just gonna keep on tiling this up. It's not going as rough as I thought it was, so try to just steam through it. I mean, I guess the other argument I have for having a 3D printer is a lot of times, like when I'm searching through trash and giveaway piles and whatever, I'm snagging like toys of some form, like Legos, or I guess, for example, Lego windows and doors. Those are a big thing for more time builders. That's kind of one of the easiest ways to get that uniform window shape, you know, the arc window shape. That's hard to reproduce by hand, not without a compass or the knowledge of how to do it, right? But I mean, I've been using Lego windows and Lego pieces, you know, for little details forever. And those are all just manufactured. They're 3D printed in some factory in whatever form their 3D printed is, which is, you know, those are cast plastic. But you see what I'm saying? Is it like what's the difference between me ordering a bag of Lego windows and me printing out a bunch of Lego-esque windows, right? There isn't any difference. You're still using a resource a detail that has been produced by somebody else, basically, or something else. That's not a negative. Somebody made this EVA foam, right? If you really want to get super granular with it, but it is cool to learn how to do it, I guess. Like, use the 3D printed, but every once in a while, build your own door. Just scratch build a door, because that gives you the skills of how to do it. And say you don't have a 3D printed door, or your 3D printed door is broken, you're trying to get this project done, maybe you can use your scratch building skills to fix it, or fix the door, or build a new one. That's a big thing for me, is that I don't want to not be able to work on my skills. If I just wanted to follow instruction and put it together exactly how it looks like for everybody else, I'd just, buy a terrain kit, I guess. Not saying anything's wrong with the terrain kits. I mean, in fact, some of the terrain kits are really, really cool. Some of them not so much, but to each their own. Let's see, a smaller piece. Perfect. I have been looking at the new Necromunda starter that came out, Hive Secondus. That terrain looks pretty cool, how they wrecked that all up and made it look a little bit more horror movie feeling. I can dig that. But we are almost done with this paneling here. And I do like the way it's coming out. All of these horizontal lines have left a little lip, and those will be great when I put texture on there. It'll all give it something to grab onto. Which adds to the realism. I went for a bike ride the other day, and the bridge we went under had some weird mosses hanging down from below it, so. Yeah, taking reference from nature too, that's or from the world around you, like some of the industrial buildings around me that are all crumbling. It's definitely some good Necromunda inspiration right there. And that is actually another thing that brings me back around to the topic of 3D printers is windows. Windows are not the easiest thing to produce, and cool windows with fragile little details on them become pretty, important and hoarded. But if you look at some of these industrial buildings, at least around me, these mills that have 1,000 windows per panel, and then they have 1,000 panels of windows, that would be something that I definitely would be like, yeah, first thing I'm printing is a big, like, probably like 2 inches? 2 inches wide by 3 inch tall, or even better, 2 inch wide by 6 inch tall versions of like paneled windows would be cool, with just like the square grating. Those would be way cool. But then again, I do that growing up around buildings like that. There was a couple where I'm originally from, and smelters looks exactly like a mill. that might be just like a nostalgia for me, that that's what an industrial building looks like, because that's what I was first exposed to, with the giant plated windows for days that the teenagers go and throw rocks at. So now I'm just putting a little banding around. Around these corners. And we should be good. At least for all this paneling. And it did take me not quite as long as I thought it would, because I knew that this was going to be a lot of just redundant over and over type of thing, type of build with this paneling. I knew it was going to take me a little while, and I thank you for being patient with me. I do like the way it has come out. I might feel like I need... This is the same size as that square there. Can't put it, can't match it on this side, but maybe... no. So we're just going to trim this down just a little bit. Almost fits perfectly. Then I'm just going to eyeball it. Yeah, Red Dog, if you... Oh, yeah? I mean, that definitely would be cool, doing a circle. This isn't glued in, too, so I could really easily panel that. That's a good idea. There's trying to match this panel on this side. It would help me cover up this as well. The styrofoam is what I'm pointing at, sorry. But I think just a little bit of corrugation maybe in these bottom pieces. Might just add something. And like I said before, I'm probably gonna do like a another walkway somewhere on this. In fact, let me measure from the ground floor. So 9 inches is actually right here, which would be 3 stories. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. So it's interesting that these, because each one of these panels behind here, each one of these is 3 inches high. So that's 9 inches right there from this level. But that's not 3 inches high, that's 4. So it changes it a little bit. But that gives me another level that I could run a platform off that is going to actually match up to the other buildings around. I know that kind of sounds weird, but that's how I keep everything in scale. Is I do it's like a 2-inch by, it's basically based off of this, one of these pieces. A floor is approximately 3 inches, slightly shy, and each panel is approximately 2 inches wide. It's a little bit shy of that, but 2 inch by 3 inch basically is what each one of these is. So I try to replicate that a lot in my build. I just, floors are 3 inches high. So whenever I build a different piece, they're gonna line up. Now this is weird because this isn't going to line up to anything because it's 4 inches high, so it's a weird level, but that's fine. Throwing those variations in your builds will just add some dynamic areas, and it will also cause things like if everything is perfectly level with each other and the walkways are all perfectly level and everything lines up, you're never going to need to make a jump check. You're never going to try to climb something. It's a fun house. It's not an actual cityscape, right? So having variance, that's why I did want to use this box, is having that weird variance on the bottom. It's going to throw this whole building into a different set. It also is by far the tallest, I think, now, because this set sticks it up 4 inches, and the other one I put on only stuck it up like 2. So that is a thing. I'm excited. The only issue I have with it right now is that there's no pathing up this giant wall that I built. But if I do a walkway, and this actually, these little sections might be cool to have a ladder detail. So maybe I'll do like up to here, walkway over, up to here, cut these panels out. Of course, that stuff is all stuff that I should have designed into the build before I started building it, but I like the organic. I like winging it. I can always go back if I don't like these. I mean, I could pop these off here if I didn't want it there. So it's no big deal. Usually I've been trying to run my live streams. Sorry, I've been usually trying to run my live streams about an hour long, just to make sure that I take care of myself and get a break and that type of thing. But there's nobody else awake in my house, and if I go up and start moving around, I'm just going to wake every other denizen of the Underhive up, and that is not something I want to achieve. So instead, I'm going to continue building, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break and get a snack and get some water and stop talking for a minute. But I'll let's say I slide a cool building up over here for you guys to check out. You're all probably hopefully doing something enjoyable. Oh, come on, bud. Sorry for the camera. I'm bumping the crap out of everything. It's yeah, long stream. Here we go. I did it for almost 2 hours last night, which was crazy because I'm old and tired. I don't know. I'm not really old and tired. I just say that. I can't really get you. This is. I wish this Lazy Susan was motorized so I could just turn it on and it would. Oh, this thing, yeah. That was experimenting. I was like, I just wanted to do something different. When I built this, I had this idea that it's kind of like a connection space for other areas up here at the top, because I built it with the idea that there's some brick walls that run into this, so this is like the top of a walkway that comes in. But very fun build, one of my favorites. It is actually based off, and I think if you look at it from this angle, it's based off of a Dr. Seuss building right here. Okay, I'm gonna go grab myself a cold drink and a snack, and I will be right back. Love you guys. All right, I'm back. Good times, good times. Now, should I try to put this piece back in that spot where it will knock the camera all around? Nah, I'm just gonna set it over here for now. Did you figure out what Dr. Seuss building it was? Not that they have names, or you could even really reference it. I don't even know what one it is. I just was looking at Dr. Seuss buildings and was like, oh no, we went to the Dr. Seuss Museum, which is super cool. Oh man, I missed that dirt. I'm gonna have to shake the camera. Sorry. I'm working on this rain piece with the crane, and this one is yeah, I do have some 3D printed crates and barrels if you want. I feel like you can always get away with, if you want to do it, to make your own style, these like cubes of, or this is balsa wood. You can always cut those. The other thing that works too is like kids' toys blocks and then covering them in popsicle sticks, or cutting cubes out of foam and covering them in popsicle sticks. That will achieve that as well if you want crates and barrels. It might be cool to try to cut some like thinner pieces of EVA foam and just do maybe around styrofoam and do like chests. Because when you look at the Necromunda sprue, I know I have some, but they're like, it comes with little chests. Here's a Lego one that you could, I don't know, I snagged that out because it, looked kind of industrial, so. See, there you go. There you go, like the pallets too. That's actually something that I've had the idea of, like using these and the stirs and trying to make like some actual pallets, wooden pallet looking things. I think that would be great scatter terrain, because although it is futuristic, it can, or it is modern, it can be pushed into futuristic, right? So. So what do I want to do? Do I want to switch over to the other one and put a little work into that, since I put a bit into this one? I think I want to do a little bit more work on this. I want to get some more details or something going on in there. I don't want to cover this spot quite yet till I am inspired to do whatever cutting. I might do some sort of keep going with this one. I do have this other one that I've been working on. You can see the side of it over there with that blue and with the black tube. This guy here. I'm doing 2 at a time, just to crank, because they're just the last 2 pieces and I want to get them done. But I feel like more tubing here would be cool. Maybe one that just comes out like flush to this and has a grate on it. I do really like this vacuum tubing and I'm trying to get rid of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut me a chunk of that. Got about 5 inches of it, so oh, I need this. So this is just like some vacuum tube from the last shop vac I had that died. So I thought I'd close it up. Look, that it's right back in there, almost perfectly. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna try to open this up just a little bit, like cutting it at the peak of one of these ridges, because there's all the ridges in there. If I cut it at the peak of one of the ridges, I should be able to slide a oh, that was too much. Slide. What are we gonna slide? We're gonna slide. Well, I have this grating, which is very chain link fence. So I could do something like that. I would definitely have to cut something else, like some EVA foam or something to. I think I am going to do it this way. And so to start with, we're just going to snip off these corners a little bit. I think I'm going to use this wire mesh here because I can then, after I get it glued, I'll grab it with the scissors and snip and pull it out so it looks like something has pushed its way out. I like that effect. It makes the Underhive scary, and also I feel like this mesh just kind of wants to live here because it doesn't want to leave now. So you found your home. Also, this tubing isn't the cleanest. Like, it's really dusty, and I would suggest if you are using dusty old stuff to wash it, because I can't glue anything to the side that has all that dust on it. It will just fall right off. So for the next step, I have this, which is a wonderful tool. I suggest everybody have one of these. If not one of these, one of these, and if not one of these, then one of these. And all of these are just compasses. I'll give you an idea. This is just like a simple handheld one. It doesn't, there's no it doesn't hold it there, so you have to be really really precise. It is just an easy way to make a circle though. It only scores, it's just 2 points, so it's just for scoring a circle to give you an idea of where it is. It kind of relies on you holding your hand. This one, pencil lead goes in there and it opens up as you turn this wheel, so then it, you know, but this one, it's got a razor knife here and the point, and then you unscrew and you adjust it so you can cut through things with this. This is I think it's called a drafting compass. This one is the one that I would suggest if you really get into scratch building, grabbing, because you can cut, you can score like you can here, so you're basically doing the same thing as these two, but you can also cut some of the lighter materials like paper or cardboard, cardstock, the EVA foam. If you're gentle, this will work. So I was gifted this, or it's kind of on loan from the Smithsonian. No, a friend let me use it, I guess. So if you ever do get a chance to mess with a drafting compass, I would say go for it, because I can just cut out of EVA foam a circle and then cut a smaller circle out from the inside of the bigger circle, and boom, I can produce a piece. And I'll show you guys how to do that. In fact, the camera got messed up, so I'm gonna give you a better shot of, you know, what my hands are doing too, so you can actually see, because that's part of it. I want people to be able to see how I'm doing it so that they gain confidence in doing it themselves, because that's what I'm here for. But I have this other idea. What if I find a washer or something that I might have a washer. I have a. Here, I'll show you. Let me just show you. So I got this. There is all kinds of things in it. So I was wondering, and it might not happen. All the washers might be just, not the right size or not what I'm looking for. Too small. Hole's too small. Almost perfect. Hole's too small. Oh, look. Somebody already made me one. I guess I should have looked through the bits before I don't even know what these are. This looks like a cutting blade. My goodness, there's a lot of weird stuff in here. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like the washer technique is going to work. It's like a cutting blade, but you see the idea I had. And actually, I don't mind that lip so much. I could do a band of EVA foam around this. I just don't like this stuff. In fact, I'm probably going to throw these cutting wheels away. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I won't mess with what's in this drawer. What's in this? Weird rubber grommets. Hey, maybe I'll put feet on the bottom. Haha, that'd be fun. So yeah, that's the other idea I've had for a live stream is I have like boxes of stuff that I didn't put the stuff in the boxes, so they're kind of like mystery boxes, if you will, and they just have weird junk in them. Sometimes it's not the most positive junk, but I could use 90% of it to build with. So I thought that might be a fun live stream to do, of just like, okay guys, I'm gonna open up this box. Time to see what's inside of it. So I'm gonna start this off. With a piece of cardstock. This is relatively thin cardstock. I can read the measurement if you guys really want to know, but it's just like a little bit thinner than your cardboard, your cereal box, but a little bit thicker than a piece of paper. It's like 3 or 4 pieces of paper. So I'm actually going to do the end of this out of this instead of the EVA foam first, because this is a little bit stiffer than the EVA foam, and I can always cut an EVA foam circle to go on the inside of this, just like as an extra layer. Trim it down a little bit more. But I have been doing my research on the new Necromunda and how to run a campaign, and it is quite interesting how they do it. It is a bit different than the old Necromunda. The advancements and stuff on the gangers and just your different guys, that's changed quite a bit. I was trying to wrap my head around that one earlier. And there's when you say you you'd use the 3D printer to make like little barrels and stuff. I totally get that, but like uh, for that particular build that you're talking about, you're with the train, you could probably print yourself out like a little gear mechanism or something that helped in facilitating the crane aspect of that as well. Like I've seen a lot of like weird articulated animals or whatever that move, and they're printed that way. So you could probably do something like that. Hell, you could probably even print yourself like a chain or something. So, and that would be cool as hell. Like so I have this tripod. Here's just a weird idea. For example, where my brain goes if I'm not focusing it. I have this tripod, and it has these legs that have a wire in them, so they articulate like that. But if you could 3D print something similar to that, I mean, how that's a put a big laser eye gun on the top of that, and that's like War of the Worlds tripod thing coming at you. And having a 3D printer, you could, and using something like Blender, you could definitely add your own customization. And then that's where the line is for me, at least in my mind at the moment. Is if you go into Blender and you build that window, and then you print it out, and then you put it on your terrain that you're working on, yeah, I'm going to say that that's a 100% scratch build. You scratch built that window in Blender. But if you go on to Thingiverse and you find a cool window and print it out, I don't think that's scratch built anymore. And like I said, I'm a 90% scratch built guy. Like if you look over here on this other one I'm working on, that's a big chunk of windows from a GW kit that I have had since 2011 or whatever when it came out. So I'm not saying that using terrain kits is a bad thing. I say use whatever resources you have. So now I'm going to bust out this compass, and I'm going to give myself a hopefully I get that relatively in the center, because I'm just going to eyeball it. And then if you just kind of go gently with this around in a circle a couple of times. It usually does its job pretty well. And then the great thing is that it does give you like perfectly cut circles, right? So you can always add, if I wanted to add some circles to these, which isn't a bad idea, just to change the thing up. I could then add I probably have some other little bits and stuff. I'll raid the bits box towards the end to add details onto it, but that wouldn't be a bad place for a lantern or a lamp or something hanging off the side of the building. So that's also why you'll see that my desk ends up getting like this pile here, and then what ends up happening is I sweep it all over here and I start working again, and then I just kind of pick out of it, and then when I'm done with the project I sweep it all into this bin, and when I start a new project I just start picking out of it. And I have been really trying to just condense those bins and work through them, and this and live streaming has really helped me do that. So I'm definitely going to continue live streaming whether or not I get viewers or whatever the hell, that whole side of it. It has been very helpful for me to work on things with. Just making that a little flush. I am gonna do the EVA foam lip around this, so I do want to make sure that this is really flush. But I'm gonna glue this in now, and then I'll flush it out afterwards. So. Yeah, I like the horizontal view of the video better, but it's harder for me to read the chat. Like, it only stays up for a second. I don't know if that's a setting in the that I can change or something, but and it's small and I'm concentrating on something else. So I'll have to look that up of how to change that setting, because the dialogue with you guys is one of my favorite parts about the live streaming. Because when you just make a regular video, you only have people leaving comments, and those are great. I'm not saying anything negative about them, but they're just like they're a comment. They're not a conversation. So, but I dig the conversation. Because otherwise, I'm just some crazy guy in his basement talking to a camera, playing with trash. So, I really like this. I like the way that it's coming out. I want to do one more loop of cardstock, I think. So, I'm going to do that, but this time I want that edge cut to be very smooth. So I am going to cut it with the compass. Concentrating. Taking all of my brain power to cut a circle. It's all right. It's better to take your time with the compass, because it's really easy to just mess it up. It pops off its center point. And then you got to do a whole other one. So, are you really saving time by going fast? There we go. How we do? Perfect. Now this is going to be even more difficult to cut, because I'm going to cut like a thin little circular piece that's going to go around that. So I got to be even more delicate with this one. Perfect. Bam. So we got a little cardboard ring. I cut it a little bit thinner just to give us a layer. See there is a layer between it. Go ahead and glue that on there right now. Very nice so far. That's a nice sewer grate. In fact, you could do that and just cut this, make one of those and just cut it right here and plaster that onto something, and that's like, I mean, honestly, that's not a bad idea for, like, on the side of this, for the light to come out of, is these little grates. And I have enough, I even have this other, oh, not this, I even have this, like, other screen that I could do something similar. But that reminds me of I think it was the Outlanders supplement for the original Necromunda. They had like a bunch of sewer vents that they were coming out of. I think the scabies were. But well, I got this right here. Yeah, lights and terrain build. Actually, so that's why I did this, because we were talking about that the other day. So I left this box open. I mean, the packaging stuff is still in here. It might be glued in there now, which I didn't think of. But my idea was to cut through either the side or the top and put lights in here so that it can shine out. I think I might end up making a bunch of these and setting them down and then tiling around them. Because I think that will look really pretty dang awesome with like light shining up out of these vents. So, and having this here will help tie that in, you know, this shape. You'll already see one of these shapes, so there'll be other ones around. I do wonder about all this tubing now. Do I need all of that tubing? I guess the more tubing I put in there, the more it looks like some sort of piping cross section, or no, not cross section, like a point where different pipes come in and split back off. Intersection, I should say. But I did that before I stick it in there. I am going to wipe it down a little bit and put one of these strips of EVA foam around the top of it. Yeah, heck yeah. Oh, so since this is a relatively delicate tool, I try to make sure to put it away. You know, putting your tools away is a good thing. I'm just going to tack the end of it on and let that cool. EVA foam is really forgiving as far as being able to adjust it because it's cloth-like, but once that cools, it is not forgiving. It wants to rip apart to come off of there. So I've learned that if I mount one end and let it cool for a little bit, then when I go to put tension on this, you know, because I want it real snug against this, it's less likely that it's going to shift on me. And got a little bit of something here. Try to clean it up a little bit. And I'll do a little run of the hot glue, pushing the EVA foam down more, trying to get it level to where I want. And I have a little blob of hot glue sticking out here, so I'm going to just kind of knock it down. Wow. All right. That gives it a chance to cool a little bit too. Just take a second to clean up your hot glue as you go before it cools. That'll give your whatever you're gluing a chance to cool, making the whole process hopefully easier. And if there's too much hot glue boogers at the end here, I can run the tip of the hot glue gun along it and knock them down. So we're looking good. I'm going to get us close to the end. And I'm going to stop and plug in my phone real quick because I'm just streaming from my phone. That actually answered your question right there. Welcome, by the way. I could stream from another camera, but it's just easier on my phone. The program's already there. It's all. Actually, I don't know if I could stream down here without. I don't know. I don't know if I'm smart enough to stream down here without using my phone. Knocking down this hot glue and oh yeah, that's right, there's your all tech master. I forgot about that. Yeah, that would be cool as hell, dude. I honestly don't know shite. I'm not really a techie guy. I'm not afraid of tech. Computer labs were first introduced in schools when I was in 3rd grade. So I experienced school before computers were even a thing in schools. So, and I actually really appreciate that. It gives me a different perspective. But I also feel incredibly lacking when it comes to knowledge of just how things communicate with each other, how the different apps need or programs need to work together and all that. It just goes over my head and I go, why isn't it working when I press this button? But I really like the way that's like one of my favorite little sewage grates or tube holes or anything I've done. I do want to mess this up, so I'm just going to grab the needle nose kind of fray that back a little bit so that it looks like something has tore its way out. Do I like it? Heck yeah, I do. That's where the monster comes from. That's where one of the holes that has the tyrannid bugs flooding out that you got to plug up. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the top and the bottom of the EVA foam, because that stuff sticks so well that will do it for me. I am. Okay, got that in. We still have a little bit of space to mess with there. I can always just one piece of paneling there, and you won't be able to see back there anymore. Let's see the angle into here so much, so that'll cover that. So I'm not super stressed about it. That is a weird angle to cut at, but I'll figure it out. Not a worry. So, what to move on next? I like this. Maybe I should just hop into working on this, trying to get that sorted out. I feel like I'm going to stucco this edge so that I can mount a ladder here. And then the next step there would be texturing or platforming this. I got to platform this area, cover this giant hole up, that type of thing. So I think I'll just keep working on here. I have this piece that almost fits perfectly. Maybe I have one that does fit perfectly. I'm going to tear through my bits a little bit, see what I can find. Not really finding anything really like on that. Wondering if I might be able to. Some way like here. Something sticking out there. That maybe. I do like that. I'm gonna just go ahead and what am I missing? So I'm gonna do just a little bit of EVA foam around one edge of this. Just to I'm gonna overlap it too, so it sticks up on this side, and that will help facilitate the joint between this round object and this round object. See, now I can just push that in and now I can just push this in, and the EVA foam will press up against there and seal fairly well. Scoot over a little bit. Maybe I can get closer to the camera so I can show you what I'm doing and you can still see the piece. How about that? That would be cool. The EVA foam works really good for that. Like, I put it on the end of almost any pipe. Instead of just gluing the pipe there, if you put EVA foam, overlap it a little bit, and put some hot glue in there, and then smash it down, the EVA foam will act like a gasket. And That is awesome. So I'm just going to trim up one of these pieces of corrugated card stock, or no, this is corrugated plastic card is what it is. At least that's what I'm calling it now, because I haven't been able to really figure out a name for it. So, but it's not just straight plastic card. It's the kind that has like corrugation. It's there's obviously a sign for strawberries for something. So, like a lot of grocery stores and stuff, they'll just throw that in the recycling thing. You go to like a health food store too and be like, hey, I'm a crafter. I'm an artist. I make sculptures out of garbage. Can I snag any? Do you have anything that you're recycling that I might be able to use? A lot of times they'll be like, heck yeah, here's all this weird plastic stuff. So I'm just gonna eyeball this cut because it doesn't have to be super perfect. I can put some EVA foam as like a little support if I have messed this cut up too bad. I'm just a hair too big. And the only real issue I have with this corrugated plastic when you're doing like trying to do small details out of it is that once you start putting pressure on these to cut through it, you'll start mashing the and it makes it look really ruined. That's not going to really hurt me here, but if you were like trying to use this for like building a tank or something and you were doing small little pieces of it, you'd probably end up, I mean, that might be fine. You want your tank to look all battle worn. That will definitely do it. So I think I'm just going to slide that piece in there. Just to get that sort of lined up. It's nice and flat. If I want to, I can go hit that with stucco and it will look like that's a great part about using that spackle or that stucco is it works great for strengthening styrofoam and coating it, protecting it from spray paint. But you can also get other pieces, like you can do it over cardboard. I could do it all on the side of the cardboard and this cardboard would look very similar to this in the end. So you can get two different materials, styrofoam and cardboard, to look very similar very easily. So I do want to put this pipe here, but I think I'm going to break it. Like this has been twisted a little bit just to make it look a little ruined. That, so now we got to bust it into the door pipe. I don't really know what it's sticking to back there, so I'm just going to shove a bunch of hot glue. If I make too much of a mess, I'll just smear it around, add some extra texture. down there. No worries. Uh, so I'll move this a little bit closer so you can see what I just did. Just adding some more piping to this, just to give it a little bit more flavor. I think I'm going to wrap this with EVA foam and then add it here, wrecking up this end of it. So we're going to go ahead and just keep adding pipes. And again, I probably sound like a broken record. I tack one end of the EVA foam down and let it dry or cool completely in the case of hot glue, so that when I put tension on it, it doesn't just pull right out of it's meant to be place. Looking good so far. I'm really digging this. Definitely gonna have to try to replicate that, because I think it would be cool to at least have 3 sticking up or 3 sticking on the side. If I cut them right and stay in this line too, they'll all be in this cell, this one spot there, so I can just shove a light in there, or more than one light. And I might even be able to do some like piping or something too, underneath them, like underneath this piece that's sticking down there, run some pipes so the light is shining through pipes as well. But that's going to be in the future, but it is a interesting thing to think about. Okay, so I got that piece ready to go there, but I want this to I'm just going to break off pieces off of what will be the top when it's set in there, just to make it look like a worn out pipe as opposed to a brandly new manufactured one. I break this as opposed to cut it because the breaks will look much more natural. If I cut it, I'd have to go back and break it anyways. And if this was like a giant piece of something that was really hard to break, yeah, I definitely would take the saw and cut it first, and then cut it, leaving a little bit of space that I can break off chunks. But in this case, this plastic breaks relatively easy. So yeah, so now we got our worn away pipe. Mount that right there. Awesome. Oh. Not bad, not bad. Will be texture underneath probably put texture or some sort of tiling right up against this. So in fact, I should probably ease off putting anything else onto this part until I know what I'm going to do with it. Because if I want to tile this, if I put a bunch of piping all over the top of it, it's going to be a pain in the butt to tile. So I'm wondering if maybe I should do like stepped down platforms with the ladder up, so then you can just go over. And then I do like the idea of cutting one of these out and making a ladder sticking up here. So that might be a cool one. But I'm on to the 2-hour mark of this video, and I will probably live stream again later today because I don't really have anything going on. It's a Saturday after all. But I think I'm gonna take a break, let my mind clear a little bit. Thank you for joining me. It's always a blast hearing input from people. Oh yeah, Red Dog. See you later, dude. Sorry, I missed those. Later, Durs. I'll talk to you later. I got some ideas for the campaign. So, thanks for hanging out on Blurscraft. We'll catch you next time. Peace.